pleased her husband and his courtiers by slaying 4 tigers with only 6 shots. On October 23rd, 1619, Noor Jahan mounted an elephant and settled into the Havra, the elaborate litter, on the animal's back, holding a musket. The Mahout, the elephant handler, led her along the sandy track toward the forest. Noor Jahan accompanied her husband, Jahangir, on his elephant, and they followed by a long line of courtiers, some on superbly ornamented elephants and horses, and others in red and gold jeweled palanquins with silken seats, decorated with garlands of flowers and carried by attendants. Portraits of Noor Jahan from the period suggest that she was wearing a regal turban, much like the ones favoured by the emperor and distinguished noblemen, but highly unusual for a woman. A knee-length tunic with a sash around the waist over tight trousers, and earrings and a necklace of rubies, diamonds or pearls. Her shoes were open at the back, exposing the henna design on her feet. At 42, she was still praised by her contemporaries for her luminous beauty. Local hunters on foot guided the party past fields of barley, peas and cotton, lush from the recent rains. Along the way, they spotted herds of cattle, goats and blackbuck with long corkscrew horns. When they reached the forest, the emperor and empress could barely see beyond the dense wall of creepers, bushes and trees, lofty neem and thorny babool and many others. The hunters showed the empress and her retinue the spot where the tiger was likely to appear, and they waited. Soon, Noor's elephant in the lead began groaning and stepping nervously from side to side. The Mahout couldn't make it stand still, and Noor Jahan's Havra lurched precariously. From his own elephant, Jahangir looked on, silent and focused. Later, he would recall the moment in Jahangir Nama, the memoirs of Jahangir, a journal he began when he ascended to the throne in 1605 that would serve as the public record of his reign. An elephant is not at ease when it smells a tiger and is continually in movement, he wrote, and to hit with a gun from a litter is a very difficult matter. The tiger emerged from the trees. Noor lifted her musket, aimed between the animal's eyes, and pulled the trigger. Despite the swaying of her elephant, one shot was enough. The tiger fell to the ground, killed instantly. Jahangir was delighted. A woman shooting publicly was rare. A woman shooting with such expertise was unheard of. Noor's shooting skill wasn't the only thing that made her highly unusual. She held a position in the empire never before filled by a woman, co-sovereign. For more than a decade and a half, from a few years after their wedding until Jahangir's death, Noor Jahan ruled along with her husband, effectively and prominently, successfully navigating the labyrinth of feudal courtly politics and the male-centered culture of the Mughal world. She issued her own imperial orders, and coins of the realm bore her name along with her husband's. In Islamic thought and practice, the edicts and the coins were convincing technical signs of sovereignty. Furthermore, Noor sat where no other Mughal queen had sat before or would after, in the Jharoka, an elaborately carved balcony projecting from the palace wall, from which government business was conducted. Subjects gathered below the Jharoka to pray for her health, and getting a look at her was considered auspicious. More important, nobles sometimes presented themselves below the imperial balcony and listened to her dictates. According to a contemporary historian, at last